I don't do intros. How you guys doing today? I'm doing all right today. This is take two. I recorded an entire video that was I can't use anymore because it was the wrong audio. Um, anyway, this is the true dragon build, the Dragoon Cultist. We're doing flames and dragon communion incantations in this build. Rune level 200 invasions. If you guys want to see all my stats, equipment, weapons, upgrades, all that fun stuff, it'll be at the end of the video, but I do hope you guys stay tuned for these invasions. I have some fun ones coming up. And with that being said, I want to talk about something real quick that's kind of special to me. We just hit 400 subscribers on the channel. That's an insane goal. I never even thought I would make it to 100, let alone 400. So, and we had a fun stream out of it as well. I showcased a brand new build that I haven't even showed off on the channel yet. A sleep night kind of build. So, thank you guys so much, man. I really do appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000 before the end of the year. I think we can do it. And if we can, I think my mind will absolutely be blown. Yeah. And that being said, guys, let's talk about this build here. And we're going to showcase right now what this build wants to do with the Dragon Maul. Look at that damage. That is disgusting. That's like the most amount of damage I've ever done in one hit. 1899. That guy, he passed the vigor check and he still failed. So yeah. This build is absolutely sick when it comes to raw damage output. And what I mean when I refer to true dragon build, I mean we're using flames, claws, maws, and roars. We're not using stinky rot breath. We're not using stinky ice breath. We're not using the unfun stuff. We're using the fun in dragon incantations. Agile's flame is what a dragon should be breathing, nothing else. And the idea behind this character is that he is he's kind of like Osiris, the Consumed King from Dark Souls 3, where he wants to become a dragon. So he didn't really care about the dragon cult spells, the lightning spells that are in the game. He didn't really care about using those. He wants to actually be a dragon, so he uses the dragon communion spells. Which I do believe in the lore there are actually enemies that did try to become dragons and they just turned into something else, which I think were the Dragonkin soldiers. They got like infected with ice lightning or some shit. I don't fucking know. This guy, maybe he found the way. Maybe he actually found the way to you know, put some dragon features on his body or something. I don't know. Anyway, this build is really fun, but there's a lot of shortcomings with this build. A ton of shortcomings with this build. Damage is not one of them. It does a ton of damage, but on every invasion build, you gotta have a lot of tools. I think that's the most important thing for an invader to have. Unfortunately for me, I'm the kind of guy where I will like use something less optimal if it makes sense for the character to use it. For example, like my Moonlight Knight. I use anything that has the word Moonlight in it on him because it's thematic for him to use that. And it actually things like that help me make my builds. I think about what the character in the world would use, and I try to do that. And that's kind of what I do. Of course, I like to use optimal stuff if I can, but I will definitely use something less optimal if it makes sense for the character and if I just think it's cooler. Which, like, for example, on this build, obviously, if I was running like a fucking meta ass Dragon Communion build, I'd probably be using Rot Breath, right? It's like just easily one of the best things to use for a Dragon Communion build. Probably even the Glintstone Breath too, is pretty solid. I think it does like like the most raw damage of all of them, something like that. Ice Breath is like pretty good too. It's all better than Agile's Flame, yet you still see me like destroying people with Agile's Flame because it's insane, and no one uses it because they'd rather fucking Scarlet Rot somebody or Frostbite them, right? I'm not like that. I like to use things that are cool and make sense for the character to use them. And I do that for all my builds. So it leads to me not really having poise a lot of the time because I go for fashion over poise. On this build though, I actually had to go for poise because this build suffers from a lot of like downsides to it. Damage isn't one of them. It does a ton of damage. But the problem with this damage is that its damage is way too fucking slow. So invaders like to have tools, like the jar cannon, for example, or Night Maiden's Mist for when people are standing around doing nothing. No, like Gank Squad just sitting on a fucking rock. 3 people just sitting on a fucking rock, staring into outer space, waiting for fucking invaders to come by so they can gank them to death. This build doesn't have an answer for that. Like, it doesn't. What am I going to do? Run in and Grail's Roar real quick? The problem with Grail's Roar is that it is cool and it does get people off of you for a second, but the startup animation is so fucking slow. All these spells are really fucking slow, honestly, and they don't really get affected by the cast speed from Dex or Radagon's icon, like, at all. They do get slightly affected by it, but it's not even remotely worth mentioning. It's like 0.23% they get affected by it, or some ridiculous number like that. So they're all just always going to be inherently slow. So in order to counteract that, I kind of went with a lot of poise on this build to be able to tank a couple of hits. That being said, it didn't matter. I still got knocked out of Grail's Roar a ton of the time that I tried to use it. Dragon's Wall got knocked out of it a lot. Agile's Flame got knocked out of it a lot. I mean, there's even times where I will cast Grail's Roar, I'll see the dragon's head, I'll hear the animation, and it won't do damage, and I'll get staggered out of it. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's what happens. You know, maybe it's like a latency problem. I don't know. I also have the Dragon King's Cragblade on this build as well. It's kind of just there in case I run out of FP or if I don't want to waste my FP in the moment. The weapon art is pretty fucking sick on it though, I love it. I don't have enough stats to two-hand it though, so or to one-hand it, so we're two-handing it for the most part. Which sucks if we get a parry, we can't really riposte quick enough unless we quickly two-hand it before we riposte. But yeah, this build has a lot of downsides. It's mostly just here to do damage and stuff. So that makes me think that this build and this character, the Dragoon Cultist, I think this might be my only build that I kind of put on the shelf for now. I like to showcase all of my builds all the time on the channel. I'm constantly making new characters and stuff like that. I'm constantly going back to my old characters when I have ideas for them, or if I feel like I haven't made a video with this guy in a while, let me make a video with that guy, showing off some new stuff. This guy I think is going to sit on the shelf for a little bit until the DLC comes out to see if we get any cool dragon stuff in the DLC. We probably will. We'll probably get a lot of cool stuff in the DLC. But anyway, that being said, guys, that's the video for today. Here's all my stats, equipments, upgrades, all that fun stuff. And yeah, fare thee well, take care of yourselves, peace out, all that fun stuff. See you later.